Let me share screen with you, and we could go. Okay, now you can see. So I guess the first question would be, why MA in migration study? Why we should do MA and study MA degree in migration study, not in any other topic? And I would say that, as you already know, migration is maybe most heated and public, the topic of most heated public and political debates in ever-growing countries worldwide. And you know that there is almost no news program that doesn't mention migration. And even now, when the mobility of the peoples are under constraint, migration is still a really heated subject. Most of the so-called Western countries, or if you would like, global North countries, are in need of migration because of the aging of their population. And yet immigration countries worry about the consequences migration brings about ethnic diversity, about migration impact on country's economy, on national identity of the country, on national security of the country. On other side, immigration countries worried about brain drain when highly educated and skilled citizens decide to leave their home countries and to move to live in other countries. And there are millions of people who are forced to leave their home countries because of the violent conflicts, wars, or severe economic crises. We can think about Venezuela a couple of years ago, about Afghanistan several months ago. So migration is important, fascinating, and timely topic. And you can just take a look into the share of foreign-born, or in other words, immigrant, doctors, and nurses in some of the OECD countries. Now, look at these numbers. Think about them in the context of the pandemic that the world faces nowadays. Can this country manage without migration? No. Actually, I believe they cannot. But for our conversation here, I would like also to stress another aspect of migration as a phenomenon. Because of the central role migration plays in life of so many people in so many countries, and because of its impact of wide range of countries, institutions, and life spheres, migration and migration-related issues at micro and macro level have to be addressed by professionals and experts in the field. Our program has been running since 2012, and over these decades, we gained serious experience in preparing and training specialists in the field of migration and migrated-related issue. This is why we believe that our program is important. So the MA in migration study is interdisciplinary program that will provide you with the skills and practical experience in the field of migration. Yeah? You will take abroad the theory, research tools, as well as professional models and best practices that cover a variety of migration-related topics. Our graduates work in both the public and the private sectors and in a variety of fields with migrants and asylum seekers in the world. A recent survey of our alumni has shown that the majority of our students held migration-related jobs after completing their studies. And you could see here just several specific examples where they worked. Some held governmental jobs, others were in non-governmental and grassroots organization, and several of our graduates actually became entrepreneurs in the field of migration, and yet others are pursuing PhD degrees in university around the world. We are international programs, so you will meet and study with the students coming from worldwide, and I think migration is so important topic to be studied with the very heterogeneous population together. Yeah, you will study in the class where people are coming from different countries and can share their experience and their point of view on the topic of migration. So let's talk a little bit about the schedule. So the program is a one-year program that includes 3 semesters, fall, spring, and summer. We study 2 days a week. It's almost full days. Our courses are divided to mandatory or requirement courses, elective courses, internship, and MA thesis. MA thesis is definitely optional. Some of the people will do the thesis and some of the people won't. There's also possibility of student exchange semester. If you do so, it would be the fall semester of the following year. So it would be your 4th semester. And you can do it in leading university around the world, be a part of the Erasmus and other program if you are interested in the exchange semester and in spending some time abroad.
Excuse me, what are you talking about, a specific program or just a general?
You mean specific program in Erasmus or specific program? You mean, our question is related to the student exchange semester?
No, I'm just saying in general because I just joined and I it doesn't really say what program.
Okay, I see. I'm talking about MA in migration studies.
Okay.
Okay, this is a link to the open day of the International MA program in migration studies in Tel Aviv University.
Okay, yeah, that I didn't know specifically which. Okay, because I've joined different ones. Okay.
Okay. So it's a MA in specific. Yeah, it's our program is the part of the School of Social and Policy Studies, and I am just talking about describing the program that specializes in migration studies. Okay, so 1-year program, 3 semesters. If you want to do exchange, it would be your 4th semester into the studies. Let me see. Let's go further. In terms of the classes, in terms of the content, you can see here on the left the list of the main classes. This is example, not the entire list. So the courses of the program are devoted to international migration phenomena in general and to various types of them and patterns of migration. We talk about settlement migration, we talk about labor migration, we study asylum seekers, we study global middle class mobility, relocation, repatriation. So it could be different patterns of migration. You will study major theoretical explanation as to why people migrate, as well as theoretical and practical approach to the integration of immigrants in the labor market, in the society, a theoretical and practical approach to the coping strategy of immigrants and refugees. There is a classes that devoted to citizenship regime in different states, to humanitarian aid, to migrant national and ethnic identities. The political context of international migration, the role of the remittances, legal perspective on migration and refugee issues, forced migration. There's just examples of the topic that you will study during the program. We also have classes that devoted to the research method, so you will be able to do your own research, or you will be able to evaluate different programs and projects that related to migration issues in different organizations. We also believe that study in our interdisciplinary program will enhance such skills as teamwork, decision-making, solution of complex matters, critical thinking, and creativity. One of the central components of our program, it's a migration and civil society workshop. Within this migration and civil society workshop, students are placed in the internship, and their internship based upon their academic and professional interest, prior experience in the field, and relevant language and technical skills. So in general, during their internship, students may choose to work with a specific population, asylum seekers and refugees, migrant workers, children of immigrants, repatriates, we call new Israeli immigrants, and other populations. The internship is usually tailor-made internship based on the interest of the students, and it could be in the framework of the research project, field work, or self-organized. Students placed in different organizations in Tel Aviv and in other localities in Israel. It could be a national organization or it could be international organization, and the the internship is going over the 2 semesters, the first semester and the second semester. And I believe that our students gain serious experience, professional experience during the internship while they work in the organization, but on other hand has academic support and classes during this migration and civil society workshop. Professor Adriana Kemp, she's teaching this class, and she's one of the well-known international scholars in the field of migration. Why study in Tel Aviv? Why study in Israel? Tel Aviv is among the leading universities in the world, and we are the only migration study program taught in English in Israel in these days. And I do believe that Israel may be the best place to teach, to study migration, because more than 20% of the Israeli population nowadays are immigrants, and another 25% are daughters and sons of the immigrants. So we are a country that based on and built on migration. And a part of it, Israel has different migration patterns and different migration regimes. Yeah, a part of the new immigrants and repatriates. There is a labor migration in Israel. There is a big community of asylum seekers in Israel, and Israel, on the other hand, has really different migration regimes toward different different populations. So we could really study migration in the country that experience all these diverse patterns of migration and address it with different policies. And yes, we definitely have leading researchers in the field of migration in our faculty. There is some faces that will teach you if you join us, and there is they are topic of study, what they are interested in, what what they research. You could see here a condition of acceptance and requirements. We will send you this information also through email or in the chat. You could see what you need here to be accepted to the program. This is kind of technical information that you will need to send us. Please pay attention to it. If you have specific question about it, we will definitely answer. This is GPA is 80, and then you need the TOEFL. And if you do not coming from, if you didn't study in English-speaking country, and CV, statement of purpose, letter of recommendation, this kind of general stuff, we can talk about it if you have any question about this also. And in general, I would like to thank you. And maybe before we open to the question, if you have you would like to hear a little bit from Alexa and Imuna, maybe about their experience, a couple of words. Joseph, if you would like to stress something that I missed, or you would like to say, it would be nice.
Sure. Hi, I'm Alexa. I studied in the program in 2014 to 2015. The structure was similar. I think the main difference was that we studied 4 days a week then, so our classes were more spread out, and now you'll have 2 days of studies, which is probably nice because you could actually work or do an internship or do other things on those other days when you're not on campus. I can definitely tell you more about, I did a thesis, so I stayed after the program and continued in the academic path, and then I've been working since then with asylum seekers and refugees. So I can definitely tell you more about my internship and the work that I've done after the program, but I can leave that for the questions and answers if you want. We also didn't have the option to study abroad, and I think that's so cool, and I would have done that if that was available back then. So yeah, I look forward to speaking to you all and answering your questions.
Nice to meet you, Alexa, by the way. Hello, everyone. My name is Emuna. So I'm actually still a student because I'm working on my thesis. I'm done with my courses though. I began in 2020, so it was just, we had one semester of regular studying before Corona time, so that was interesting. And I'm ready from the part where we were studying 2 days a week, which was definitely convenient. I worked through my studies, and I did my internship as well. That was very interesting. I was working on developing questionnaires for asylum seekers in Europe based on their sexual orientation. And nowadays I work in an Israeli nonprofit called SIMI. It was one of those organizations on the list. I actually began yesterday working full-time. I was promoted, so yeah, it's very interesting. I work in what I think is the best combination, which is research and social impact. So I'm enjoying that, and I would love to answer any of your questions. I'm Israeli, and and my peers were really international from all over the world, and that of in itself was an amazing experience. We're still close. A lot of my friends, I can tell you, they work in UNHCR, they work in different organizations, and whatever is interesting to you. Migration is, it's a small academic world, but it's a big world professionally. You can really find whatever suits you. So I recommend it, and I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Mona. I guess the floor is yours. Any question written, you can ask, you can raise your hands, whatever. We are here to answer your question, actually. Yes. Yes, Dina.
For me, okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question to Emuna because I'm also Israeli and English is not my mother tongue. So I'm wondering, just I've never did an academic study, or like I don't know how much the level, the academic level that will be required can suit me. So my English as well, and I work in an NGO and I write and speak in English, but just wondering about on the academic level, what it takes.
I can answer on the personal level, then maybe Anastasia, you can answer on the, I guess, academic level. English is not my first language as well. And I admit I was a bit scared, especially at first when I had to present certain, work that I did. But most of my fellow students English was not their first language as well. We had some American students like Alexa, I think you're American, but most of us were not. We had students from Ghana, from different places in Europe, from South America. So I think the staff, the academic staff was definitely aware of that and accommodating. You definitely also will improve your academic English, which I think is a plus. So it will be a challenge at first, but I think it's worth it. It's something to kind of get out of your comfort zone and get better at.
Dina, I can just add to it that we do English speaking program, we study in English, but we study English with accent, as you could hear. I mean, most of the people in the program, English are not their mother tongue. Like, we do have some students that coming with the English as mother tongue, but it's not, I think I'm right, yes, if I say that majority, it's not. So you would hear English with the Russian accent, with the German accent, with Israeli accent, with French, with Italian, with Portuguese, whatever. And yeah, it's challenge, but it's interesting. And I do believe that our staff really kind of aware of the fact that it's not a mother tongue for most of the students, and we know how to realize where there is a problem of the language or there is a problem of the understanding in the written work, and we kind of open. All of us went through this once, so we can kind of remind ourselves that we were in this place not so long time ago. It's okay. We need to start somewhere. And if you already work in the NGO organization and you use English, I do not think you have anything to be, kind of afraid of.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful.
Yeah. I can actually add to that. I am a native speaker. I grew up in the US. I became Israeli later, but made Aliyah, I mean, but most of my classmates were English was not their first language. They hadn't studied in English in the past, and they had some of the most interesting things to contribute to class because we were all migrants from different places ourselves, and that's exactly what we were studying. So it creates this really rich conversation and discussion in the classroom, and it makes it really interesting to work on group papers or projects with your classmates because you're all coming from different places, different backgrounds, different languages, so different understanding of things. And it's funny because also some of my closest friends are people I studied with in the program, and some of them I wasn't close with at the beginning because they were intimidated or shy to talk to me because I'm a native speaker. And after they were more comfortable because they were using English so much for school, then we were able to actually communicate and get closer. So and they use English sometimes for work now, for example. So it's, yeah, if you're, if you need to build that confidence, the program can definitely help with that, because I saw it with my friends.
Yeah. Yes, Nina.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to
I'd like to ask really about carrying on in research and what are the opportunities of going on onto doctorates, or you would rather see students more placed in working places? Like, where are you?
In terms of the research, we do have our students that are working on the PhD and going to other countries to do PhD. So we have I know some of the people, usually students that would like to go to PhD, they will definitely take the thesis track because it's a requirement, yes, to apply to any PhD program. So they do the write thesis. And then we do have our students doing PhD in Tel Aviv University, in German universities. I know several people in the US. So some of the people continue to PhD, and we definitely provide them with these skills to do research, because you can actually, while working on your internship, also you can choose research-oriented projects. So if a PhD is something that you are interested in, you can also kind of structure your study to contribute to this path, for example. Yeah, because an internship, you can do field work, but you can do also research-oriented projects. So you may say, okay, I would like to do the research project because this is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the research. And then I do and I write my thesis, and then I kind of build my portfolio to be able to apply for PhD program in Tel Aviv or in any other places. This is an option if you're talking about the PhD. It's definitely the path. And not for all our students, but for some of them. It really depends what people are looking for, and we are happy to guide and to supervise students that are interested in research. Yeah, and this is why I believe we also give kind of a strong basis in the research methods, exactly from this point of view, because we want our students to be able not only to study migration and to work out of the academia, but also to work with the researchers if they want to continue this path.
Mm-hmm. And I have a tricky question. Maybe it's not for here, and I can carry on later. But actually, I have an MA in studies of Israel. It's history. Mm-hmm. In the migration topic, but again, it's in history, and I feel that I don't have enough for modern days. Now, the question is if I can come into an MA and then carry on with my thesis, or I'd have to do another thesis under your...
You mean you're coming to study a MA here, yeah, in our program, but then you do not write new thesis, you take your old thesis.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's possible, but we need to see maybe what you can do. You can take this topic and make some of the enlargement of this topic, yeah, or some continuation. You may use your work, to be as a background for your new research, that part of it you already did. Yeah, you will need to find some new angle.
Nowadays.
Yeah, for nowadays, that, and for this program, so if you want to finish this program with MA thesis. Like we cannot take MA thesis from one program and to put it in another, but you definitely can use the knowledge that you have.
Okay.
You know, and on the background work that you did. Like people that write seminar, for example, and continue from the research seminar to a program. Okay.
Okay.
To thesis, sorry. Yes. Any, yeah.
Hi, hello, my name is Ila. Thank you first of all for the Zoom meeting. I would like to ask, I'm coming from a very different academic background. I'm a professional musician. I have bachelor and master in music performance. And
in what? Sorry?
Music performance. And I do work today as a professional musician. So first of all, I would like to ask if this is something that I could apply for the program with this kind of background. And also if you think that the fact that I don't have any experience in these areas as migration or something close to this can be a minus for me in the program.
You can apply. Like in general, the program is open for students who are coming from different backgrounds. From, I would say that mostly from social science, but also from humanities. And the music is there in the humanities side. Yeah, so you can apply. It may be the case, like we do not teach, since all the students coming from different backgrounds, yeah, in general, in any case, we need to manage and to see how we teach in the way that suits everyone, because some of the people may came with a strong basis in sociology, but it has nothing to do with political scientists, and some people would come from the anthropology or from history. And then they do not know anything about research design in sociology or in public policy, for example. Yeah. So in general, we are really interdisciplinary program with very diverse background of the student. So it could be the case that in some of the classes it would be a little bit more different for you, to catch up the mood, how we do stuff in the social science. But our research methods class starts from the beginning, it's kind of general research methods class, so you will be able to catch up, and I do not think it should be a problem. I mean, we do have people from different backgrounds, and then I do not know whether in general, so to say, somebody who studied I don't know, literature is closer than somebody who studied music, at the end. Yeah, so then and you can also, I think, if I think about the internship, and I'm just kind of thinking, flying, how you can use your skills for the internship, because if you do have some internship people that working in the field work and with some sports organization, for example, and play football with the kids, why not to take it and not to use it in the when working with kids or adults, and applying in taking tools from the music, from the art to work with the people also, yes. So it could be really interesting, actually, and I think that some of the organizations that work with the labor migrants or with the asylum seekers would be really glad to have somebody with the different sets of skills that can help them work with the different populations.
Thank you.
It doesn't require language, actually. This could be.
Yes, it is. If I may ask another question.
Definitely.
Now in Corona time, is all of the program taking place in the university, or is there any remote studies or?
Okay, Ila, I would be glad to answer your question kind of with certainty, and I couldn't. What we do, really, I'm as honest as I can be. The last semester we studied in class, but we had some students. In general, we do want to be in-person program. This is important. The discussion is important. The personal relationship is important. And Zoom cannot really substitute it. And some of our students that studied in Zoom, I guess, can attend to it. It's different kind of studies. But sometimes there is a lot of complications. And for example, this semester for our first year students, some of them couldn't come to the class because they were coming from, Ilana, please correct me, from Chile, and they, from Pablo, from one of the countries with
Argentina.
Argentina, yeah, he didn't have, for example, vaccination before we started to teach. So because of, and we didn't, we want him to study, so we did the hybrid. So all the students were in the class, but for him and for some other students that were in quarantine because they arrived to the country and they needed to be in quarantine, yeah. We did recording, yeah, in Zoom, so they could join the class in Zoom. In general, we want to be on person, but under the circumstances. So if there is some stuff that if people cannot come, then we will do it in Zoom. If the situation would be as it is now, for example, then I guess university just would say us, please do it in class and remotely, simultaneously. Yeah, this hybrid teaching. It's not the best option, but this is what it is. On the other hand, we do have some classes from the people who coming from abroad, or some lectures that we do on Zoom. So we try to manage. I mean, in general, we try to see what's going on. We really dependent here also on the university. Yeah, in the university rule. On the other hand, we do have our flexibility to do stuff. And it depends. You know, it's really.
I understand, and I completely understand that this question was.
No, it's okay.
I'm Israeli, but I don't live in Israel. So in this case, it's also important for me to understand because although I'm Israeli, I'm coming from abroad. So it's.
I see. Like, we do not. I will say you this one. We are not going. I hope so. If the situation will be okay. I do not think that we are going to be completely remote program. This is we do not want to be in that place. Yeah, we are not online program. Yeah, and then it depends on the circumstances.
Thank you so much for answering.
I can tell you from my experiences studying in Corona times, so it really did depend on the time, and also because this is an international program and relatively small compared to other programs, university will usually let us come in a hybrid kind of form. So some of my fellow students were abroad, and some of us could come, and it was kind of a hybrid thing. Sometimes it was remote, but it really did depend on what was happening at the time.
Okay, and this time we are really flexible. Like, I mean, this year had a student from the Australia that she was in the country, and then she couldn't visit home for 3 years, and then she wanted to visit home during her vacation, but then the talk started about closing the Israel. So she came to me. She said, "I want to go now because like it's 2 weeks till the end of the semester, but I'm really afraid that by the time semester will end, the border will be closed." I said, "Okay, buy your tickets, go visit your family, connect us with Zoom, we will be okay." So it's kind of, it's also personal relationship. We are aware of the situation. It's really difficult times for everyone, I guess, in this situation. Okay, any other questions? No? Okay. Ilana, would you like to add something?
No, I don't think so. Perhaps the only thing that Israelis are registering via the Israeli registration website, and whoever doesn't have an Israeli ID, they need to register via the portal. Otherwise, you need to submit the same documents besides the English proficiency exam. And that's it, that I can leave in the chat my email, migration studies email, and some useful links perhaps. Let me send it, I prepared something. But that's it. So if you have any other questions, you're very welcome. Write me. 1 minute.
We do have information on our website also in the Tau International and also in the Tau University. We also have a Twitter. So please, if you have any questions, write us. You can write the email. I will be happy to talk to you, ask me question, ask Ilana questions. So we will really glad to provide you any answers.
I
Yes,
have another
Laila.
question.
Yeah.
So I took part in another lecture. I wasn't here in the beginning and I missed the first part, sadly, because everything that interests me is exactly at the same time. Will this lecture be available somewhere?
Yes, I'm doing recording now.
Yes,
So
yes.
I guess, and I will ask Ilana to send you the link for from this recording. Just write in your chat or to Ilana your email. Okay, Ilana, yeah, you can write in the chat, whereas Ilana Zergina, you can write your email address and she will send you the recording.
Excellent, thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I know everyone's coming from different backgrounds and will have different interests, but I just wanted to say that I use this degree all the time. When I worked at Highest in Israel, and then I worked for UNHCR, and for both of them, they asked for my thesis and they read my thesis. So I've used the thesis to get job openings. And even I'm working in the US now for a small agency serving immigrants and refugees. And yesterday, someone was asking about some basic theoretical information, and I was ready with the information, and I was thinking how I would look back on my notes and explain to them that some of the foundations that I got from this program to help this agency figure out how to serve their population, because we're dealing in the US with the new Afghan arrivals. So they were trying to figure out what do these statuses mean and how did they get here and all these things. So it's, you know, there's a lot of theoretical studies, but it's very tangible and practical also. And I apply it all the time, and it definitely gave me a leg up when I was applying for jobs, or every time I've been applying for jobs in recent years.
I'm a little happy to hear, Alexa.
Yeah. So if you're looking to do the practical application side, like I do, I've done international development, humanitarian aid, social work, social service provision, and this program prepared me to do those things.
Great to hear. Okay, thank you so much, Imuna. Thank you so much, Alexa. Ilana, so we will hope to hear from you. Please write us, ask us, apply, and probably we'll meet next year. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.